We're out onto the Rift for an all-challenger affair as CrsA Academy take on to be determined coming out of their own bases. Ping's going down onto both sides of the mid lane, so expect to see a little bit of a defensive setup from TBD, but still don't know what we're going to see out here from CrsA.
Yeah, you can see already Westrice posturing towards the top side of the map. They don't want to let CrsA Academy in their side of the map if they can afford not to let them in. So they're going to be doing kind of that line of scrimmage setup as we see they're collapsing around the borders here. CrsA Academy are going to hard push as 5 though to get this vision down. They want to know who's going to be laning where. Like we said, those 2v1 matchups, extremely potent for the early game of both these solo top laners. So they want to know where the jungler is going to be and more important, where those duo lanes will wind up.
And Bubbadub's going to make the most out of that. Takes an uncontested deep ward at the Wraith Bush there in the bottom side of TBD's jungle. And I like what TBD are trying to do. They just got in there. They're trying to poke back into the enemy jungle, but actually forced the flash. There's a death sentence down on it. BrokenShard. Burst damage over the wall. Last auto attack. First blood from fabbbyyy. Taking out BrokenShard.
Poor BrokenShard right there, just poking his nose a little bit too far into what you would think would be a safe part of his own jungle, but with only 4 members over there and Westrice not yet seen on the map, CrsA Academy felt extremely confident. Good hook landing from Tsatsulow was literally a death sentence in that regard, and first blood to CrsA Academy. More importantly, it's on the AD carry, so no matter where those duo lanes wind up, Lucian's going to have an early advantage.
And a lot of times you'd see an AD carry go back and maybe pick up like boots and potions or just a little bit more of a passive sort of regen focus. But for fabbbyyy, it's just straight to the long sword. A lot of damage coming down in the bottom lane. 83 to start off against ROBERTxLEE, who's only at 76. So we'll have to see that. And I love this because one of the great things about the Challenger League of Legends scene is that you don't already know all the players. And in case you guys are new to Tsatsulow, you thought that was impressive. You got a lot more coming your way.
Yeah, there's plenty of more Thresh plays coming from Tsatsulow. It's one of his more comfort champions, but at the same exact time from TBD support Bubbadub, Zyra's kind of his go-to staple in the support role as well. So it's going to be a well-versed matchup. TBD has a lot of comfort picks. As we can see, they're utilizing this to their advantage. Westrice is taking Zed in the mid lane for this assassin duel here between him and LeBlanc, while Elise, who has that scaling percentage of health damage, is going to be going up against the big beefy tank Sin in the top lane.
And Rhux is trying to get on there. No fling just yet on Arthelon. As you can see, he has both that and his poison trail leveled. We're going to see a presence up top from OneBadBrad. Same basic idea from BrokenShard, who will take down the double golems before heading back up to top lane as well. So both junglers on the same page, both looking to get in there. Jaximus continues to trade in there on Westrice, takes a turret shot. We'll lose out on to that, and so nothing too eventful happening. OneBadBrad, he's having the wave push against him, so unless Arthelon, there's the fling out on to Arthelon. No axe to land, but still a lot of damage. No, the undertow hits, and Arthelon down to 100 hit points. Another undertow to land. Now Arthelon's gonna have to try to get out of there. BrokenShard right there in time. The axe lands. It's undertow to pick up the kill. Now BrokenShard in a 1v2. Ignite to go down. OneBadBrad does not die. It's a double kill for Olaf. OneBadBrad definitely channeling his inner Nubby Pooh Bear there.
And oh man, that's OneBadBrad's vicious strikes barely keeping him alive in that situation, but it's all that early ward coverage. They saw BrokenShard go to the double golems and they waited to see where he was going to be. He popped up towards that brush in the ward in the brush over by his red buff, and that's when OneBadBrad went in off of the Singe Fling. They were confident with the dive because they knew they had the numbers advantage. Even though BrokenShard came in, well, OneBadBrad felt very safe with that vicious strikes to keep him sustained.
And at such low hit points, there's going to be a lot of damage played backwards on ROBERTxLEE, but double hit of that boomerang blade will keep Tsatsulow back for it. Now, fabbbbyy's been playing very aggressively, and he can because, I mean, it's just straight up math that the way he wins the trades with having that extra longsword. And it's the same build we've seen almost out of every Olaf. It's the triple Dorans, but it's going to be a gank coming bottom lane as Arthelon, or as Westrice comes down there. It's going to be Tsatsulow very, very low. And it will be enough damage as Bubbadub snipes out the last hit.
And this is something Westrice does quite frequently. Not only is he roaming for a kill in this circumstance, but if he feels like his lane matchup might not be going the best way possible, or if he has an opportunity to get extra gold or experience elsewhere on the map, be it farming in jungle camps or going for a gank like that, he goes immediately with no hesitation, only level 4 Zed. He goes, you know what, LeBlanc's not really going to push my lane early on anyway. I'm just roaming down on bottom side, and he's going to give that lane a much-needed kind of catch-up kill right there. It does wind up going on to Bubbadub, so instead of going on to ROBERTxLEE Sivir to try to get a little bit more damage in that lane, it's going to be up to Zyra now to keep that Sivir nice and healthy.
Yeah, keep in mind we do have a red potion, Elixir of Fortitude, still on to Westrice, so didn't even need that when he went down there for the gank. And I think the thing to notice right now is OneBadBrad on the Dragon, incredibly strong with the triple Doran snowball effect and 2 kills coming his way. Top lane Rhux, though, will die behind the turret. It's BrokenShard, the Arthelon, take him down. Top turret almost down at the same time, but it's going to be no turret traded for just a Dragon. This is CrsA Academy will take down the first global objective of the game and snowball themselves to a 1.5 thousand gold advantage.
Yeah, and Rhux just kind of walked through the tower and took a shot or two with Arthelon just taking the poison damage right behind him. I want to say that was kind of just an elaborate setup for him to get the focus of the enemy jungler so that there's no way that that dragon was going to go contested or detected whatsoever. So he gives up his life, like you said, in Champion Select, the suicide singed effect. Not really suiciding for the strategy, but suiciding here so he's able to secure a global objective for his team.
Yeah, that's something Singed does better than almost any other top laner. He just draws pressure, pushes all day. In the mid lane, we do see both of these assassins hit level 6. There's no mana on Jaximus, though, so unless he picks up the blue buff respawn, it's not really gonna. There's not going to be a lot of kill potential for him there in the middle lane. OneBadBrad, Jaximus is baiting this really well because Westrice knows he doesn't have a lot of mana, still playing very far forward. Most likely OneBadBrad just there to hold the lane.
Yeah, now Westrice still has both of his summoners from that roam down bottom. All he had to do was use the W, so he's going in.
Behind the turret. He's also going to use the Living Shadow to get in there, but it's the last hit from the turret. Will the Ignite ticks be enough? Yes, it will. 1-for-1 trade down there in mid. Up and top, Rhux is starting the proxy farm to go in, and OneBadBrad is going to chase BrokenShard out of his own jungle. Not too happy about that one. BrokenShard, no offensive or defensive stats in his items, whereas OneBadBrad stacked up very, very heavily in that early game with 3 Doran's Blades.
Yeah, and those Dorans give you a lot of dueling potential when you're a jungle pickup, and Olaf especially getting the extra HP to get 1 or 2 more reckless swings down upon an enemy jungler. That's true damage on top of the duel potential with the sustain coming out from Vicious Strikes. It's a Viking you definitely don't want to mess with. So BrokenShard, he had the level disadvantage at that point in time as well, so Lucian had no business getting up in Olaf right there.
I've never met really a Viking I've been too happy to get up close and personal to, but I don't know. Maybe OneBadBrad is going to be the benevolent Viking we all know and love. Either way, it's going to be bottom lane, a lot of trades. Tsatsulow, 1 more auto attack to take him down. It will be ROBERTxLEE to find the kill, and Bubbadub got kind of low, but in a nice gank there by BrokenShard. I wouldn't say you should have seen it coming because, of course, it's Lucian, and I don't think that Tsatsulow had both of his eyes open either. There we go, 4-4. The kills starting to even now. Now 2 for the duo lane of TBD, bringing it back from the early kill on the Fabby.
And this is a play style kind of TBD. We see BrokenShard do this quite often. If he gets behind or he feels his team is behind, instead of just farming like a lot of junglers will default to, he goes and tries to make something happen. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily work out. This time, however, it does wind up working out. Westrice, he kind of sacrificed himself for a kill in the mid lane. Bottom side, they give a kill to ROBERTxLEE as well. So there's 2 kills, only 1 death in net in that for TBD. And it's up to BrokenShard now to continue to snowball those lanes. We talked about that in Champion Select. If he's going to be giving up his own farm, his laners need to be taking advantage of that. Otherwise, it's CrsA Academy's game pretty much to take control of.
Now, yesterday, when Nubby Pooh Bear went his triple Doran's Olaf jungle, we saw him build a Shirelia's Reverie afterwards, and I'm not really sure about that one, but it is going to be up to OneBadBrad to see what he decides to go for tonight. Unwarded lane brushes in the bottom lane, meaning that OneBadBrad can get through one. He will find a ward in the second one, walks right in onto it, and will be scouted out. So, somewhat of an ineffective gank down there, but immediately BrokenShard is like, all right, I know where I got to be, and heads down to that bottom lane. Wave pushed into turret, so it should push back out, and that means that ROBERTxLEE and Bubbadub have a great bait opportunity. But in the top lane, it's Arthelon just goes down to the fling out from underneath the turret. It's Insanity Potion. I kind of thought it was Insanity from Arthelon to just stay in there so up close and personal with the movement speed from Rhux. Too quick, too fast, got in there and was able to take him out. Another kill coming the way of Rhux, and if he's planning on suiciding a lot more, I don't think that refreshing his gold is going to be all that effective, but even still, decides to stop that. He's going to be able to stack up with double Doran's rings on top of a Catalyst the Protector. Not something I've seen before. Death Sentence, bottom lane won't be capitalized, but there's actually the Grasping Roots on the fabbbyyy. Will take the Dark Passageway out, not before taking about half hit points.
Yeah, and in that top lane area, we just have Arthelon. He's getting bullied around by Rhux because of those early game disadvantages. Rhux is 2 levels ahead of him right now, which calculates to a lot of statistics that Arthelon just doesn't have right now. And actually, Westrice, Jaximus is going to find him in this brush. Can he take him down?
There's actually the mirror passive, but no, Jaximus turns it around. BrokenShard can't get in there. Safeguards to a war, finds the slow from the Tempest Cripple, and now it's going to be OneBadBrad ulting in there. Jaximus with the damage again to find a double kill. And oh my goodness, trading that damage right back out there. Jaximus, I feel like possibly BrokenShard Westrice underestimated his damage just a little bit.
Yeah, Westrice especially, and BrokenShard, he went in with his way out, if that makes any sense. He missed the Sonic Wave, so he goes in with the Safeguard and the Iron Will combination, and once that happens, OneBadBrad, he was just shown his face in bottom lane, so you know that he's going to be rotating elsewhere on the map after that unsuccessful gank, and, well, he walked right into BrokenShard.
Oh, Fling goes down onto Arthelon, does manage to find his way out of the poison. A lot of damage for both of these top laners, but will it be enough for Rhux to wait for his Fling cooldown? Just now coming off a cooldown, there's going to be the, I always called it just goo, but it's the Mega Adhesive, trying to slow Arthelon down and get into position for a Fling, but with a ward in the Tri-Brush, Rhux knows he can't play too aggressively, and very well calculated as BrokenShard standing just out of vision of that top lane.
Speaking of aggressive, bottom lane, we saw Bubbadub wind up popping the Stranglethorn down underneath fabbbyyy and Tsatsulow's tower, trying to get as much damage as possible, but that's one of the kind of things you have to be afraid of when you have Sivir as your AD carry. She's very short range, and Zyra with the initiation from very far away. Fabbbyyy and Tsatsulow are pretty much able to wind up getting knocked up under their own tower, and Sivir wasn't able to put down as much damage as possible. It shoves them out of lane, but all it's done for TBD in this situation is giving them a little bit of breathing room to go back and buy. When you look at the CS in the bottom lane, though, despite those early game advantages from fabbbyyy, he's still falling behind ROBERTxLEE in CS, and that's a lot of have to do with Sivir. She's going to be putting down damage on the Lucian even when she's pushing the lane, whereas Lucian, he's kind of got to decide, do I harass or do I attack the minions? And well, it looks like right now he's doing a little bit more harassing than minion attacking.
Now for Rhux, he actually got zoned off of his turret, and now that he's pushing back out, a wise decision by Arthelon and BrokenShard to back off for now, knowing that Rhux is just going to walk into 2 champions as his turret when he's low health. Must have some help coming in from behind. That help is Jaximus. He will look to push in, possibly for a kill, waiting a long time up here, and with a ward over the wall, hasn't been scouted out just yet, but should be just up the top lane to hold it as Rhux heads back to base, but no, stops his recall. They're actually looking to force this.
Yeah, and actually it looks like LeBlanc might want to come around, but she might just be in defensive mode right now as the recall is going off there from Rhux. Bottom side, we saw once again ROBERTxLEE just using that Sivir build to get super aggressive against fabbbyyy. Now, he's gone for the Trinity Force style on Lucian, so he has the Sheen, he has a decent amount of damage, but he doesn't necessarily have the straight upfront trade potential that his Sivir's going to have. Boomerang Blade, auto attack, and then the Ricochet to reset the auto attack is a lot more than a Piercing Light and a passive coming out from even a Sheen proc Lucian. And when you wind up blocking that the Piercing Light with your spell shield anyway, it's no wonder that ROBERTxLEE is coming ahead in these trades and forcing fabbbyyy back against his tower.
You know, it's kind of the Bloodthirster effect. It's such a huge early game item. It's just ridiculously good in laning phase because it stacks you up, it gives you more attack damage, it gives you sustain, basically everything that you need. When you go for Trinity Force, sure, it's a big power spike when you get it, but it's going to take some time to do that while your opponent, and in this case ROBERTxLEE, is going to have a pretty early Bloodthirster rush there. But all of a sudden, Insanity Potion turned on there in the top lane for Rhux. Tries to go in onto Arthelon. Will he be able to get the fling? Does. Arthelon takes a little bit of damage, but it's nothing fatal just yet.
Now that Arthelon has a lot of magic penetration built into his percentage of HP build, he's got that level 9, so he's going to wind up having a lot of points put into his Q. He's actually maxed it out here at level 5 already. And he's going to be able to deal a lot of damage back onto Singe. Only problem is, now that Rhux has that Rod of Ages stacking up, he's going to be getting the kind of counteraction to penetration, which is, well, I'm just going to build more HP and slightly outclass you. We saw that early on with the double Doran's ring over going for something like the tier and not getting that HP to give a little bit of a buffer zone. And it wound up working out well for him now, but Arthelon, he's going to hit his own power spike. Elise only gets stronger when the enemy champions get more HP as well.
Yeah, that's kind of why it's questionable to go for. It's kind of for Arthelon, if you try to build resistances against him, he has magic penetration. If you try to build health against him, well, he's Elise, and he just loves people building more and more HP. So it's going to be a rough lane there for Rhux as the scaling continues for Arthelon. We'll have to see if he continues to be able to win out that lane, as he has taken down the first turret in the top lane up top, and of course middle lane turret gone as well for a 2-0 turret advantage for fabbbyyy. Is actually going to be on the hunt, allowing the death mark to go in onto fabbbyyy. Will it be enough? The answer is no. Death sentence actually onto Westrice, pulls Tsatsulow back in. There's the box and the culling from behind, but into 4 champions, won't find a kill just yet. OneBadBrad there. I don't care how strong you are as a Viking, you probably don't want to run into 4 champions.
No, there's a lot of members of TBD right here. Arthelon is still away in a different lane, so now there's 3 members of CrsA Academy, and the health bars here for TBD aren't the worst, but they've used a lot of ultimates in that aggression, and they haven't gotten that top tower down either because Arthelon rotated mid. CrsA Academy looking to get a tower for this.
OneBadBrad forced the ult. Ragnarok on out of there. Ignite's burning down, but it won't be enough. Jaximus actually going in the Ignite onto Westrice. Will it be enough to take him down? Last tick grabs the kill for only Jaximus. But now there's going to be mirror images. Pop the chains. The connect onto Bubbadub. Not enough damage and not enough time to finish off the support for TBD. It will be the untimely demise for both Jaximus and OneBadBrad. Dying on the turret. Now it's fabbbyyy as BrokenShard gets in there for a double kill. Takes him out. fabbbyyy grabs the Trinity Force, but only after dying in the bottom lane. A 3-for-1 exchange in favor of TBD.
Now, there's 2 big factors into why that fight wound up working for TBD. We've touched upon both of them already. One of them was BrokenShard. As a jungler, when he's behind, he needs to make plays, and he forces the plays to be made. We saw that when they originally went in against CrsA Academy, and it wound up working out for them. CrsA Academy, they wound up chasing after that one and kind of forgot where Arthelon was on the map. Now, Rhux, with this Rod of Ages build, we said in the later stages of the game, he's going to scale up, he's going to split push, and that's going to be his job. But because his job is to be across the map from CrsA Academy, when 5 members strong group up from TBD, they're going to be able to take him down.
Oh, and speaking of taking him down, Westrice is going to try for just that, but just a little too tanky. Rhux, not all that much afraid of Westrice just yet. Westrice does, keep in mind, have that Elixir of Fortitude running down, so that will be a little bit of a power drop-off when it finishes, but at the same time, he already is going to have well on his way towards some more aggressive itemization. You can see 3 pink words in the inventory, perfectly lined up, is now a death, or not a death sentence, but the Undertow landing on the Bubbadub. Dragon's Rage backwards. I feel like OneBadBrad could have predicted that and turned on Ragnarok, but it was just coming off a cooldown. DFG debuff onto Arthelon, just add a lot of damage to Tsatsulow. He's going to be trying to run out. The culling comes backwards from fabbbyyy, as well as a lot of damage, but it's just not enough, and running right through the Stranglethorns is OneBadBrad able to make his way out alive.
And this is TBD. They like these scrappy engagements. They like going for these ganks and these initiations, and well, BrokenShard liking it a little bit too much here.
And Safeguard's out to a ward as he does have a Sidestone built, so he's going very tanky, very defensively Sin, and as such probably shouldn't have tried to get in there for a kill. But now Rhux versus Westrice. It's actually the Ignite down onto Westrice. Continual poison damage starting to tick. We're just waiting for the fling cooldown. There's going to be the goo to land onto Westrice. Can he make it out of this alive? No Insanity Potion for another 15 seconds. Ward over the wall from Rhux cannot chase in onto Westrice, who makes it out alive.
Well, that's what we said in Champions Select. When Westrice is on a split pusher, CrsA Academy responds by getting somebody that can split push against him and take him in that fight. There is no penetration coming out from Westrice. He only has the Tiamat right now. Hasn't gone back and spent, well, he's got about 1,300 gold in his inventory, so he will be building up to that Ravenous Hydra very soon, but there's just not enough damage to fight a Rod of Ages and that double Dorian Singed yet.
Yeah, and Singe kind of 1v2ing, occupying both Arthelon and Westrice. And the reason he can do that is they're both below half hit points, so there'd be a kill potential on at least one of them, if not both, and that really makes TBD play a little bit more passively up top. We'll see Westrice head on back to base, grabs himself up another pickaxe, so he's actually forgoing the early Brutalizer that you see a lot of Zeds get, as well as forgoing the Bilgewater Cutlass into Blade of the Ruined King build, which is pretty standard nowadays. So mixing that up, going for a very top lane build, picking up a Tiamat. We'll have to see how that works out because it hasn't been all that effective picking up kills. Westrice 1, 3, and 3.
This is very interesting because he has the Tiamat already, so he has the pickaxe item for the Ravenous Hydra, but he goes back and picks up another pickaxe, most likely building towards a Last Whisper. But taking a look at the side of CrsA Academy and their itemization, there's only one armor item on them so far, and that's Ninja Tabby on OneBadBrad. So yes, it's going to wind up shredding through Rhux's natural resistances, but he doesn't have DPS to back it up quite yet. So when he shreds through not a lot of armor, because it's based off percentages of the Last Whisper, that's what makes it such a effective later game item for AD champions, considering they only have the base resistances on the side of CrsA Academy right now. The damage output isn't going to be as much as if he did, like you said, go for something like that Blade of the Rune King earlier.
Yeah, or even a Brutalizer, because hey, everybody's got at least 15 armor to shred through. And there's Rhux coming back to top lane. Westrice, though, with a lot of attack damage, 200 AD, but he's going up against Rhux, who's over 3,000 hit points right now. That's going to take a long time to chug through, and Westrice isn't necessarily a sit there and auto-attack you to death kind of champion. Dragon under pressure, and the safeguard in from BrokenShard, unable to steal it. There's the jump over the wall, and a dark passageway. OneBadBrad was just sitting there. He's like, anytime Tsatsulow takes the dark passage out and will make it out alive. Dragon safe and sound there for TBD. Now Jaximus takes a lot of burst damage. Is going to have to jump out of there. Taken down before the fight even starts. That OneBadBrad, and then there for some damage. Throws out some true damage from vicious strikes, but the mid turret will fall as CrsA Academy lose their third turret of the game.
Yeah, and even though we saw that Jaximus went back and picked up that Seeker's Arm Guard as I was talking about them not having a lot of armor on their team, it's not yet that Zhonya's Hourglass, so he can't survive and engage it like that if everybody from TBD jumps on him. And the numbers advantage is something TBD's been utilizing quite effectively. Even though Rhux has been split pushing top lane, taking down towers, they're fighting when it counts.
And this is going to be the re-engage there. Westrice with no ultimate, still able to damage Rhux pretty decently. Very, very low HP, but it's BrokenShard get out with a kill on it. Tsatsulow, OneBadBrad wants to turn it around, lands the undertow onto Arthelon. The fling to come out, Ignite is down. Rhux taken out. Arthelon at the very end of that team fight. Now looking for possibly even a re-engage. I don't know about that one. An axe from over the wall as OneBadBrad will throw that over there. Actually thought that jungle Olaf axes embedded into walls, but apparently you can throw them through the... Wait, okay, I'm not sure exactly what I saw there. I'm pretty sure the axe went over the wall.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the axe wound up going through and finding its target, but there's something else that I want to point out right here. You can look on the side of your screen at the health bars in TBD. Everybody is low except for ROBERTxLEE. Robert is surviving these fights, and even though we said his short range on Sivir was a little bit of a hindrance in the early laning phase against some of the poke and aggression that Lucian and Thresh are going to put down on him, in these team fights, since the rest of his team is literally jumping on Jaximus, jumping onto fabbbyyy, and trying to assassinate them, his short range is actually a benefit. He's popping on the hunt and running into the middle of a fight, and the CrsA Academy, they're just losing him right there. Even Singe, who was running around the back line, wasn't hitting Sivir at all that fight.
And if you, anytime your strategy, Arthelon though tries to defend the turret, fling from Rhux, a little bit too good at dethroning him from that turret. Now the damage to come out there. Jaximus will fall. Tsatsulow very low in the back. Almost gets Rhux kicked into him, and now there's a lot of damage from the culling as fabbbyyy strafing backwards. Dishes out some nice cover fire there for Rhux as TBD will get forced back underneath their own turret. Robert, without any mana, not enough wave clear to keep this turret from going down, but with Westrice poking in from the side, should be enough to usher CrsA Academy away.
Yeah, they tried to re-engage with the on the hunt right there, but the mega adhesive coming out from Rhux's Singe was just enough to deter them because it's just wide enough in that mid lane area around the second tier tower to wind up hitting as many people in TBD as humanly possible. So they didn't wind up getting that re-engage, and because Robert stayed so healthy in that last fight, he didn't go back, so he still had low mana from the last fight as well.
Oh, but fabbbyyy versus BrokenShard doesn't have too much to worry about. Knows that if need be, Tsatsulow's there as sort of a last line of defense. And of course, OneBadBrad on the other side. But Robert heads back to base with only 300 hit points. Got focused a little bit. The poke to come out is actually pretty strong there for CrsA Academy. But with the untimely demise of only Jaximus, a lot of the burst damage and kill potential for CrsA kind of died with him. And now looking for a blue buff steal. OneBadBrad's already got the buff down to half hit points, and Jaximus takes it away from over the wall. Actually, no, it was
just waiting.
Yeah, he was, and it's actually the blue buff onto Olaf, so if he dies, he gives that right back towards TBD, so definitely something to be careful about. OneBadBrad actually smote it away. I was thinking they were going to give that to Jaximus, but hey, he's got a blue buff of his own coming up here in not too long, so wise to just secure the buff and make it out alive.
Now, TBD, we said that Robert has been staying alive very well in these fights. However, the problem is right now, he's 1-0-7. He's the one that's looking like the support out of that bottom lane, whereas Bubbadub is 2-0-5. But those kills that TBD have, out of the 11, it's only 1 for Robert. So he's got some assist gold, but they're losing out in some global pressure. Those dragons have gone to CrsA Academy. They're down by a tower, and without the kills on their AD carry, then the fact that CrsA Academy isn't even really focusing him in these fights starts to be a little bit more detrimental towards them. Westrice, he's got a negative record right now, and he's a lot of damage.
And Tsatsulow's record is going to get even more negative. 0-5 currently with some burst over the wall from Jaximus, trying to find something, not going to connect. Just a perfect grab out there onto Tsatsulow. And while Tsatsulow is sitting at 0-5, you can see a much better performance from Bubbadub at 3-0-5.
Yeah, and Tsatsulow, he said that his Thresh is going to impress, but it's Bubbadub and his comfort pick of Zyra that's definitely the support that seems to be a lot more comfortable on this one. And now this is TBD Classic. They're looking for a pick, they're looking for a scrappy engagement, and BrokenShard might be going too far.
Way deep in there, doesn't even get the kick back. The culling takes him down at long range, and fabbbyyy has more damage to dish out. Arthelon very low. OneBadBrad in Ragnarok. Is there going to be enough damage? Arden plays over the wall, gives Lucian vision for a double kill onto fabbbyyy, but now fabbbyyy up against ROBERTxLEE. The flash in there from Robert, Barry to go down. Is there enough damage to trade back away? The answer is no. ROBERTxLEE taking down the gatekeeper.
Oh man, and that's what we were talking about with Westrice. He has the split push potential and cleanup potential. Rhux is all by himself right here, and guess Janitor Westrice gets another kill for himself.
Oh, but the ignite, not enough damage. ROBERTxLEE stays alive after Jaximus almost actually died there from diving back in. Rhux dies, OneBadBrad dead, and fabbbyyy dead for just a double kill. I want to say that's actually worth it for TBD, who dish out another great defense of that middle turret. Hasn't been very successful for CrsA's continual pushing down the mid lane.
Yeah, and this is something that definitely went in favor of TBD there. They wind up getting more kills in that engagement, and the gold counts are less than 1,000 apiece apart from now on. Before that fight, it was looking to be closer to the 3,000 mark in favor of CrsA Academy, but now there's another kill that goes down onto ROBERTxLEE. He's got 3 more assists in his pocket as well, so when he winds up going back, he's going to finish up that Phantom Dancer and start building towards that last Whisper. The itemization coming out from CrsA Academy from this point forward, they've already built up a lot of magic resistance against the percentage of HP damage coming out from Elise. Armor is going to be the next viable option. However, that last Whisper had been completed extremely early by Westrice. It's going to start kicking in the later stages of the game. And if ROBERTxLEE can get his last Whisper, these team fights and these engagements that TBD are forcing on CrsA Academy, they're going to go even more in their favor.
CrsA trying to force this dragon down. They will grab it, and there's actually the relentless pursuit over the wall. OneBadBrad stuck in the pit. Can he come out there? Doesn't want to come out into 5 champions. Where is the dark passageway? He's not going to find it. Left alone in the pit. Westrice actually over the wall after the kill onto OneBadBrad. He and Rhux, the full tank line of CrsA Academy, do go down. But of course, that is the dragon once again going over to CrsA. So starting to bring it back in the dragon count there. And a nice job picking up the objective. But with 2 champions lost, could be a Baron opportunity for TBD.
2 tanks down and the smite from CrsA Academy. This almost certainly smells like Baron for TBD, and I don't know if CrsA Academy can really contest as much as what can they get in response to it. The 3 members are going to try collapsing in here. That's the problem when you have 2 ghosts and you're going for objective-based control. You're not able to get back over that wall, and once the lantern went down, for Rhux to get out of there, they jumped on the lantern, they focused down on Rhux because, as we saw, Olaf had no way out of the dragon pit.
Oh, but the burst from behind, only Jaximus finds himself the, I guess the food of all AP burst casters there in the mid lane, taking out Bubbadub. Yeah, that guy, he died pretty quickly as Jaximus did find a little bit of a consolation kill there in the support. Westrice back in a bush and just lets Rhux run on by. Needs to make it back to base, but for TBD, it's kind of interesting because going into this match, it was actually almost double the votes against them. It's 20 votes for CrsA against only 9 for TBD. But to be determined, man, they are coming out to impress. And with the Baron buff, we're going to have a lot to offer here against CrsA Academy. But still, keep in mind, even with that Baron buff, still almost dead even in gold.
Yeah, that's just the fact that TBD has had to come back from those early game disadvantages, and their style that they're kind of coming in with this one. It's something that we haven't seen out of them for a little bit, a decent amount of time, I'm going to say. Zed for Westrice used to be his staple champion, but after Zed reworks, we see a lot less of him. We saw him going more towards that Lee Sin and a split push style. We didn't see him coming in to be Janitor Westrice quite as often as we have this game. And the reason is that there's just no champion like Zed that can do both of those and be that mobile. And like I said, the changes to make him go in and out of these fights, make him escape, make him jump over walls, and get out of these sticky situations that much quicker is making Westrice extremely effective.
Oh, but Tsatsulow, please. OneBadBrad, not a very good body card, as he will find a kill on to the CrsA Academy support. OneBadBrad forced in to Ragnarok just to escape, venturing out into a very dangerous jungle. The culling to come out just to clear out the wave. 400% damage to minions, pretty effective, but with the Baron buff regen, it should just be enough tanking stats there just to walk down through the turrets. TBD pushing in onto what could be their first base turret of the game.
And this is a problem for CrsA Academy. Rhux's Singe is in his own base. He's not behind enemy towers. He's not knocking down minions and trying to force pressure elsewhere on the map. He's stuck in the base as a team fight tank, and that's just not what Singe is best utilized for. So the pick that they did to go up against Westrice kind of backfired. It wasn't a split push Lee Sin, it's this cleanup style of Zed, and while he could still split push on Zed, we've only seen that in the mid stages of the game. He's just been grouping up ever since.
Oh, but Tsatsulow again getting caught out in the same exact spot in the jungle. Rhux actually zoning out. ROBERTxLEE flings him back in, but there's just so much lifesteal, and with the flash, ROBERTxLEE stays alive. Tsatsulow still alive as well, just action everywhere, but nobody dying. fabbbyyy will flash away from Arthelon, who will continue on to the chase. CrsA Academy do look like they will survive this, but at what cost? It's the bottom lane push coming in for TBD, looking to take down the first base tower there. OneBadBrad once again into Ragnarok, but it's gonna be Westrice, just way too much Death Rise. God Rise there in the bottom lane, going godlike in the bottom turret. Not looking long for this world.
No, and this is just TBD. Arthelon's going to wind up paying the price there as he overextends a little bit, and BrokenShard is actually going to die to some poison. This is the part where TBD can overextend a little bit.
Culling picks up one kill. I don't know, double kill for fabbbyyy there off of just the last hit on the turret, Tom. How can you not stay for that? But the better decision, much better to back off, and CrsA Academy capitalized on a little bit of an overextension there by TBD.
TBD sent too many members into the base to try to pick up kills rather than focusing on the tower and taking that advantage. They just annihilated a single target in the jungle. Then right after that, they took a fight and they wound up winning that one hard. So then they push down onto an objective, but instead of going for the objective, they get stars in their eyes. They go for these kills, and that's the little bit of a downside to the TBD aggression. It's gotten them back in this game, but it's also something that CrsA Academy can use as a springboard to now push down this mid lane. They finally taken that second tier tower. Towers are all evened up. Baron buff is gone from everybody from TBD now, and those gold counts, just a couple hundred gold in favor of TBD after those fights.
And this is kind of a breath of fresh air, and to be honest, probably one of the last chances that CrsA Academy are going to have to come back into this game. They were pushed up against the wall, quite literally, the walls of their base, but managed to pick up a nice kill. Baron's up in 30 seconds. If CrsA go back to their own base, they're going to lose this Baron, so they have to stay in the area. Blue buff over to Jaximus. fabbbyyy able to steal away a red and pick himself up a blue buff, of course, there in the last fight. And with the impending push here for TBD, they could just look to put on pressure and then back off for Baron, but should look to at least take down a base turret. And as long as they don't overextend like last time, should be a pretty sealed deal. BrokenShard almost getting cut out there.
Well, CrsA Academy, as you see the culling go over the wall, take Bubbadub down about half HP. They put a couple wards down in the TBD's jungle, and more importantly, they have a ward over by the Baron brush area. It's on the backside, so they won't see if TBD is going to sneak in through their own blue buff area, but they have vision on the enemy side of the map, so they know where they're going to be if they're not pushing in at their base. So they know when to go for that Baron and when to contest it, and if TBD are just trying to bait them. So CrsA Academy, as long as they know that TBD is on their side of the map, they're content to sit here and defend against them. They'll be the ones that charge into a TBD that, even though TBD's been taking some of these team fights, if they have their squishy members that have been taking some Baron damage, that's a fight CrsA Academy is definitely going to want to have.
It was actually Dragon respawning in about 30 seconds. Baron's up in 1 minute exactly, And now with Curse Academy, let me check out the gold counts. Yes, 1,600 gold on Rhux. Needs to head back and turn that into a Randuin's Omen, but just a little bit short of that, and we'll continue to farm up the bottom lane, looking for that item to be complete. And for To Be Determined, actually coming out of base with a huge power spike, but still 1,500 gold on their pseudo top laner, and Arthelon's AP Elise has built it very, very tanky, about the tankiest you can get it, with an Abyssal Scepter, as well as a Giant's Belt, looking for that's Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Hasn't quite found that just yet, but at the same time, both teams starting to hit those big late-game power spikes. The biggest deal to watch out for this game is going to be Westrice. 8-3-6 with 323 CS, over 100 CS advantage over Jaximus.
Yeah, and Westrice, he's just doing his own thing, and as we talked about, he can split push, he can be a threat all across the map, and with the way Zed works now, he can join up for these team fights, and, well, there might be one right here as On the Hunt gets popped by ROBERTxLEE.
The disengaged, once again, cover fire coming out from fabbbyyy in the form of the culling. Wards cleared out, but Tsatsulow, nothing quite there. Moral victory as ROBERTxLEE takes the big wraith. That'll be a victory there for TBD. But now, Rhux trying to get in on Westrice. He's going to try to juke him with the shadows. Deathmark can dodge the burst damage right onto fabbbyyy immediately. QSS out there, and it will be the burst damage now onto Bubbadub. Takes the DFG, and there's the damage from Jaximus. Finds a kill. fabbbyyy on a killing spree. It's a 2-for-0 so far, or a 1-for-0, as Westrice did not actually wind up dying there. How he got out alive is a little bit of a mystery to me, but still. Oh, he's able to recall to the death mark, Living Shadow, and then make it out. Alright, cool. So Westrice stays alive, coming back with home guards, but now it's the pressure onto the Baron for Curse Academy.
And Westrice is able to live using his shadows, and he did actually have to flash over the wall towards mid lane area, but the rest of his team can't do that like he can. So he goes a little bit aggressive in that situation, and he winds up getting his team into another overextended situation. Now, Curse Academy, we talked about them in previous matchups. They've been a team, like, against complexity previously in the NACL. When they're down, they will team fight, and they will find a way to beat you in the late game as a force of 5. TBD has come back into this one through scrappy engagements, letting them go on long enough for Westrice to rejoin the fight, and then play cleanup. If Curse Academy gets a big team fight where TBD is out of position, it could be lights out. It could mean a Baron, it could mean an inhibitor, or it could mean a push for the game if this goes on any longer. We're already cresting the 37-minute mark, which means this death timer is going to start getting higher and higher, Rapid.
Absolutely. That means that once you die in team fights just matter so much more. Because it's not who you kill or when you kill them, it's what you do off the back of that. And when you kill the entire team and they're dead for 70 seconds, you're going to be able to make them pay. And so with only base turrets left alive in the mid and bottom lanes, there's a lot of strong pushing opportunities for TBD, but they're going to have to win a team fight before that happens. Unless, and we've seen it before in NACL, you can catch your opponents out of position and then just walk straight into their base. So we'll have to see with Baron, the next objective on both teams' mind. Tsatsulow looking to clear out some more coverage. Deathmark from over the wall. There it is, down onto Tsatsulow. Will pop from that, and it's going to be a legendary Westrice, 9-3-6.
Westrice assassinates one of his favorite kinds of targets, the support, once again. Now Curse Academy with a numbers disadvantage. This is TBD's fight.
Rhux trying to run away, very, very tanky, but it's going to be the means by which BrokenShard gets into the fight. fabbbyyy very strong in the back, dishing out a ton of damage, but the same thing for ROBERTxLEE. Rhux just melts under the damage, and it is going to be him and Tsatsulow both dead. fabbbyyy turning the damage right back around, tries to find Bubbadub. Will it be enough? He's going to flash in there, gets the extra speed from Ardent Blaze, and trying to dash in. Barrier out from fabbbyyy, who's just absolutely killing everyone. A triple kill. Can he find the quadra? Onto ROBERTxLEE, takes him down. The quadra kill for fabbbyyy to close out the team fight. An ace for 3 as TBD fall at the hands of Curse Academy. The gates are solidly closed. A quadra for fabbbyyy to close it out.
Oh man, and that was just BrokenShard went in onto Singed, and instead he didn't want to kick the tank back into his own team. So he goes and he kicks fabbbyyy. What he does is he kicks him towards the Wraith camp and gets him out of the fight. So rather than isolating the AD carry for his team to pick off, he isolates the AD carry from the enemy team to stay safe. They have to force themselves onto the tank because he's the closest target in that situation, and now that jungler is back behind enemy lines. This lets fabbbyyy just sit there and wail away on the enemy team while they're targeting down on Singed. Yes, Rhux gets melted in that situation, but as you saw, fabbbyyy just melted through TBD.
Yeah, that's Lucian damage. If he's picked because he's kind of a lane bully, but then you get to late game and you realize, oh wait, he still kills everybody. So an incredible performance there by fabbbyyy, but something else to point out, I love how he actually got the kill onto Bubbadub by using the extra movement speed he got from auto-attacking a target that was marked with Ardent Blaze. I've never seen that ability actually do that before. So working as intended, fabbbyyy using Lucian to its fullest potential, and now it wasn't a team fight won hard enough by CrsA Academy to get anything other than that dragon off of it, or didn't even get a dragon, it was just OneBadBrad checking the pit. Dragon's back up in about 30 seconds, and now for TBD, they get another chance at controlling this Baron, but for CrsA Academy, hey, they won team fight. They won one team fight. Can they do it again?
Well, Rhux is going to soak up the damage in the front. The On the Huntsman pop, BrokenShard. Not going to make the same mistake twice and go in after Singe in that case.
Oh,
but
the death mark in the middle lane on it. Tsatsulow finds him again. Tsatsulow 0-8 and 5 and dies before every fight even starts. That's going to make it increasingly harder for CrsA Academy as now 5v4 power play coming in. BrokenShard leading the way.
Well, last time the power kill worked out for CrsA Academy, but how's it going to work this time? BrokenShard, he's actually going to go in, but there's no tower here for CrsA Academy.
OneBadBrad very in front, much tank, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough here against TBD. The DFG to come out barely takes damage, or BrokenShard barely taking damage. First inhibitor falls, now it's going to be up to TBD to disengage successfully. It will back on out for now, and that's the first inhibitor down for TBD.
And with TBD putting map pressure onto CrsA Academy, this is the best inhibitor to take it. Oh, poor Rhux.
They bait him out there, and in the middle of the enemy team, he is taking up relatively well, but BrokenShard just dragon kicks him at the very end. The culling from over the wall as OneBadBrad gets in there for a kill, but with his death, it's a 1-for-3 exchange once again in favor of TBD.
Well, I was going to talk about how this gives TBD great Baron posture, but at the same exact time, there's no ward coverage for CrsA Academy, because even though they've been fighting tooth and nail against TBD, they haven't been able to establish a presence on the map since before the first Baron went down. It's one thing that Bubbadub with these constant Oracle's elixirs has been doing quite effectively, and when you need your support to be de-warding and placing your own wards, Tsatsulow being dead 8 kills of the game, he's probably been dead in the later stages of these fights longer than he's actually been alive. There's no ward coverage.
Oh, the death mark coming in there. fabbbyyy, as soon as he baits him in there, cleanses out the death mark, will resist the damage. Westrice a little too ham there, winds up going down. Whether or not that's throwing down, I don't know, because Westrice dead for 60 seconds. Baron, though, is going to be attempted there. Only Arthelon, Robert, and Bubbadub there to try to take it out. It's down to half hit points, and Arthelon and Robert just deal so much damage to that very high HP. Baron now down to 3,000, 2,000. Will CrsA Academy be there in time? Tsatsulow trying to get in. The culling to come out immediately canceled by fabbbyyy. And Tsatsulow out in front again, going down. His 9th death of the game.
No vision on where BrokenShard was going to be in that situation. They knew that he was alive. They just didn't know how far away he was. So fabbbyyy immediately says, no, we're not going in. Tsatsulow, guess he didn't get the memo in that situation. And it's TBD, another Baron buff for them. Another fight wound up being won in favor of them with no map control. Once again, the support is dead for CrsA Academy. There's no wards being placed on the map right now. There's one when they were going up to try to check that Baron area. That's all that's been placed down. And considering the fact that you could say, well, the jungler could buy wards, the AD carry or someone else can buy wards, they have so many items in their inventory at this point in the game. They need to wind up selling something in that regard just to buy wards, and that's not going to be effective for CrsA Academy if they want to keep winning these team fights. So by continuously catching Tsatsulow out and continuously blowing him up, whether it's face checking in a Baron pit or Westrice just assassinating him, TBD slowly but surely is forcing CrsA Academy back into a hole of their own base, and it's going to be all up to them now to just try to defend, as a Baroned up TBD are looking extremely strong.
Westrice grabs the blue buff, and lane's actually pushing out relatively well as OneBadBrad and Rhux will push out bottom and mid, but with the last outer turret falling, to be determined. Oh my goodness, the bait from around the corner. Rhux is going to try to go for it. The Shirelius is down there, but immediately a cocoon hits onto Rhux. That cocoon almost single-handedly saved TBD. No engagement there from Rhux, who blows a lot of movement speed, unable to engage. And now it's Westrice just walking into CrsA's base.
Yeah, and this is Westrice that we know, but oh, Arthelon gets annihilated by Jaximus.
It's the second tier bait there. It's hey, we're gonna engage on you, try to catch you out, and then after we fail that, you're gonna overcommit. And a great capitalization there by Jaximus. Now it's 4v5, and TBD can't push.
Yeah, well, that's what the one Achilles heel of TBD is. When they go aggressive, sometimes they go a little bit too aggressive, and you can pick them out of position like that. But CrsA Academy in this situation, they have 2 inhibitors down. They're not going to be leaving their base anytime soon, so all they really get out of that is just a little bit of breathing room. They have to wait for these inhibitors to respawn. They need to be able to defend against the super minion waves. At the same time, TBD has the entire map. We see Westrice just going to solo himself a dragon in this situation. The gold counts on the side of TBD are massive. Most importantly, a 5,000 gold advantage between Westrice and what was his lane opponent here in only Jaximus.
And even with that advantage, though, in the last team fight, we actually saw Jaximus, he didn't need all that gold. He just was able to one-shot Arthelon there. And to be honest, Arthelon, he's building actually pretty tanky with that Rylai's Crystal Scepter into Abyssal Scepter. A lot of Scepters going on, but just not enough resistances to keep himself alive versus Jaximus. And I like the Void Staff, too, on a Jaximus instead of going for straight Death Cap, because he knows that people are going to build magic resistance against him, and that is the most effective item at mitigating that those defensive. Bottom lane, Westrice waiting there in the bush of death. He's like, hey, if only Jaximus can do it, I can do it too. I don't think anybody's going to be pushing out that far for a while.
Well, this is what we see out of those choices in Champion Select from the side of TBD. Yes, they're all comfort picks, but we see how they work together very well in this case. Even though Jaximus can blow up one person, pick someone out of position, Westrice can do the same thing, but still be completely useful in team fights or completely just split push an opposite lane. Whereas once Jaximus kind of just combos down on somebody, he's got to wait a very long time for that to happen. And at that point, it's all up to fabbbyyy to deal the damage because they got double tanks right now. And even though Olaf got a large advantage in the early game, he's a tank. Singe at the same time, he's got a Thorn Mail, he has some poison damage, but he's still extremely tanky. There's just not enough DPS until that LeBlanc combo comes up once again, and that's where TBD is coming in and taking these fights.
Oh, the culling breaks the spell shield, gives some mana back to Robert, but will do the majority of the damage to the wave minions. Just keeps CrsA Academy's top turret alive for now. Double Thorn Mails. You can see the effect that Westrice is having, as well as Robert. Actually, a lot of armor starting to stack up on the front line in OneBadBrad and Rhux for CrsA Academy, but it's not damage. For TBD, they had that so much from just an incredibly fed Westrice at 12 and 5. Now it's going to be an engagement onto OneBadBrad, taken below half health. I love the Leandry is really making him cry there as he's going to sustain up off of the super minion. There's going to be Jaximus trying to get in, but he's actually going to recall back out to the distortion. Rhux will almost immediately explode the magic damage, not the armor. Or not the attack damage, able to take him out there as he's spec'd so heavily. Into kind of the wrong defensive stat for that Arthelon, just almost single-handedly taking him out, and now in full disarray, the base just in shambles for CrsA Academy. TBD looking to close out the game.
The late game damage from TBD is just outclassing what CrsA Academy's competition can do, and we're about to see it in full effect, Rapid.
Alright, well there's Jaximus. Once again, we see a LeBlanc getting blown up. This time not because of a glitch. Robert, though, could go down. The flash in for fabbbyyy will take him down. fabbbyyy in a 1v1 against Arthelon. Can't find it, but the culling to come out just a little bit off angle. And will it be enough for OneBadBrad, who's just continually sustaining through BrokenShard? A double for fabbbyyy will finally go down. Shut down by Bubbadub. 5-3 and 17 for the TBD support.
Well, there's only one member left on the side of CrsA Academy, but it is a full HP OneBadBrad. BrokenShard has GA available, but he and Bubbadub have to back away. CrsA Academy defend their base, but what's left of their base right now, Rapid? There's no inhibitors, there's 2 Nexus towers, and super minions piling down upon them. Baron's going to be respawned in a minute. TBD can literally take this down easy street, clear out the Baron pit. CrsA Academy can't do anything to stop them. And then once again, it's going to be a Baroned up TBD fight against CrsA Academy. The only thing they have is, like we said in these fights, fabbbyyy is almost all of their damage. If he survives these fights, if he's able to stay alive in the back line, after the culling is popped, he can move back in, and we've seen Lucian be able to pick off low HP targets to a lot of effect when ROBERTxLEE was playing him, actually. fabbbyyy's able to do the same thing in these fights, but how long can he beat off a Baroned up Zed, Lucian, Elise, and Sivir? Well, hopefully, if you're a CrsA Academy fan, it's for at least another 10 or 15 minutes they can climb themselves back in this game. But if you're a TBD fan, I don't know if you can do it.
Jaximus just blew his ult combo on a super minion trying to take it out there. I mean, it's going to be up in about 15 seconds, so it's not that big a deal, but just goes to show the desperate nature with which CrsA Academy are defending their base. Another blue buff going over to Westrice, and the base, you know, I said it was in shambles. They do still have two full health Nexus turrets, so if that's where you're going to make your stand, it's about the best place you can choose to do it, because if you don't make it there, it's probably not going to really happen. Baron is going down here to TBD, and I don't think, CrsA Academy, Tsatsulow is going to stay way back now. It took him a while, 49 minutes, but he's learned his lesson and is not going to face check into that objective, which will go down once again to TBD. And now, CrsA Academy, they got a lot on their minds.
Well, those two inhibitors that they do have down in the middle and the bottom lane, they will respawn at the same exact time, but you can't defend those out in the open. If they respawn, it's going to be a little bit of a delay for TBD. CrsA Academy, they need to get a fight against those Nexus towers, and they need to get a fight that they're positioning. We've seen TBD, when they initiate, when they get a pick, they're getting extremely effective in these fights. But when CrsA Academy is able to straight up fight them at an advantage, it's going in their favor. So if TBD over-aggress into those towers, if they are able to blow somebody up and force a 5v4, that's what CrsA Academy wants.
Now OneBadBrad down to half hit points. Leandry's once again very effective. ROBERTxLEE kind of melee range. OneBadBrad trying to sustain up there just so he doesn't die from Ignite. Will he actually make it out of here alive? No, it's Robert from behind to take out Jaximus. A double kill for Westrice. The Nexus turret's going down. 4 dead for CrsA Academy. The Nexus will fall, is to be determined. Take out CrsA.
And they focus down on, well, they focus down on ROBERTxLEE in the middle of everything, and Westrice dodges after the Tsatsulow hook, dodges the flay with an ultimate onto Rhux of all people, gets immediately back into the, goes into the fight, gets back against Thresh, and just deletes him. There's no lantern, there's no shield, there's no flay, no support. The tank just melts under that DPS coming out from Zed, and TBD, they were that far ahead. They just crushed CrsA Academy in that fight, and like you said, Rapid, they crushed the Nexus right after that.
Yeah, a total of over 60 kills in that 50-minute game. Just an absolutely epic slugfest between both of the teams. But in the end, we saw team fights won for both of them, but a 14, 6, and 15. Very impressive performance by Westrice's Zed. And he did play at mid lane, not top like we were expecting, but just was able to win out that matchup and be such a source of strength for the rest of his team. So congratulations for To Be Determined, who against the odds, keep in mind, that going into that game, the poll results from our wonderful viewers actually put CrsA Academy at a little bit of an advantage there. And of course, the voting changed right after I mentioned it. It was currently double the votes for CrsA Academy over TBD, but now they're starting to shift back towards TBD. The post-game voting is a little bit too strong here, but that's going to do it for our first game of the night. Don't worry, because